We have some breaking news on a Sunday, Sixers fans, as the 76ers have officially signed Team France's Olympic standout, Guerschon Yabusele, to a 1-year, $2.1 million minimum contract, this being confirmed by Adrian Wojnarowski after Shams Charania initially reported that the Sixers and Yabusele were in serious talks on a deal. Woj has confirmed that the deal is official. So we're going to break down what Yabusele can bring to the 76ers, why it makes sense that the Sixers went out and made this move, as we talked about on the show a few days ago, why the Sixers should do it, as well as why Yabusele is making a comeback to the NBA finally since being out of the league since 2019. So we're going to break all that down for you guys. Before we get to that, make sure you subscribe. We're providing you guys with breaking news updates all throughout the season, news, rumors, analysis of the entire Sixers season, all the way up and hopefully through the playoffs. So be sure to subscribe and don't miss out. So Guerschon Yabusele, going back to his first days when he entered the NBA, was a 16th overall pick back in 2016 and never really panned out. Played a couple seasons for Boston, averaged just over 2 points, 1.5 rebounds, playing just 6.5 minutes over 2 seasons. And 2019 came and he hasn't been in the NBA since. But since then, and especially the past few years playing overseas for Real Madrid, Yabusele has really been able to grow his game and shape his body and his skill set to be able to fit modern day basketball. And we really saw that on a global level at these 2024 Olympics. For Team France, Yabusele was absolutely phenomenal as France made a run to that gold medal game. And during the knockout round of the Olympics, he was fantastic. 19.6 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 1 steal a game, shooting 30% from 3 and almost 82% from the line. And against Team USA, again, they got to that gold medal game, put up a good fight against a, obviously stacked Team USA, and had that crazy viral dunk over LeBron that I'm sure everybody has seen up to this point. But again, it's not just that one play. People want to say, oh, he dunked over LeBron, now he's getting an NBA contract. It's not just that one play. He really was one of France's best players the entire Olympic run, and has been very good overseas in general the past few years, but this Olympic run has allowed him to gain that that notoriety and that exposure that he needed to finally make a comeback to the NBA, which he was very adamant about after the Olympics wanting to do. And so the Sixers are now taking that chance on him. One of the reasons why he's finally making a comeback, again, after being out of the league since 2019, is his shooting has improved so much and he's really shaped his game to be able to fit modern day basketball. When he was coming into the league, the idea was for him to be more of a stretch four, but he was never really able to do that. That's sort of the archetype that you had hoped he could become, but he was never able to shape his game to become that. Now he has. Over the past 3 years, playing at some of the highest levels of European basketball, Yabusele has shot 44.5% from 3, 36% from 3, and then 40.2% from 3. All while being a solid defender as well. But that ability to improve his game and improve that shot, which we didn't really see in the Olympics as much, but it's obviously in there somewhere. That's one of the most attractive parts of bringing in a player like Yabusele, in addition to his 6'8", 275-pound frame. So he's got that big physical forward build that really fits what the Sixers need on their roster at this point in time. And that big frame allows him to do a lot of things. One, he can be a mismatch on switches inside. We saw him dominating people in the post on the interior. And he can also hold his own on the inside. And that frame does allow him to be a very talented inside scorer, not just with his back to the basket, but he can obviously attack the rim, as shown by that dunk on LeBron. I saw some crafty and fancy finishes for him at the lane. He can fight through contact again with that frame to be able to finish through contact and finish those and ones and finish those tough plays at the rim. He's also a very good defender. Not an elite defender by any means, and once he gets to the NBA, it's obviously a very different game, so we'll see sort of how he adjusts to all that. But he has versatility with his size. He can move his feet pretty well for a bigger guy, so he can guard out on the wing, but he's also got the ability to guard down low. So he's got some versatility there, which I think the Sixers are really going to value because they're light at that forward position, which we'll get to here in a minute. And as I mentioned, a career 40% three-point shooter over in Europe. So if that can translate and you can get the defensive ability he's shown, the intensity that he plays with, which Sixers fans are absolutely going to love. He's going to play his heart out, especially a guy coming back to the NBA who hasn't been in the league in 5 years, who's trying to prove he belongs and prove that he has improved to the point where he should be a mainstay on an NBA roster, making more than a minimum, which he will make this year. He's going to be giving it his all, man. And I just love the idea of a player like that, along with a skill set that he can bring. Now, one of the reasons when we talked about this signing potentially not happening is Yabusele is under contract with Real Madrid. So there was some hesitation that a buyout wasn't going to be able to be completed because his contract buyout amount is $2.5 million. The Sixers, under NBA rules, could only pay $850,000 of that. The rest, about $1.6 million, would have to be resolved between Yabusele and Real Madrid. Clearly, they figured out a way to resolve that, so Yabusele will be coming over to the 76ers. So let's look ahead a little bit. Now that he is officially here and officially signed, what he can bring and how he can fit into this rotation, because Daryl Morey had said that they wanted to leave one roster spot open. They had 2 roster spots available. They've signed Yabusele. So now you imagine that the current Sixers roster is what they will have heading into the year and probably all the way until the trade deadline if they see a move that they need to make. But right now the Sixers have Maxey, Oubre, Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. I don't think the starting 5 changes. I like Yabusele, what he can bring. I don't envision him stepping in right away and cracking that starting lineup over Caleb Martin. But you look at some of your depth. The Sixers had a lot of guard depth, right? And that was one of the reasons why we've always been talking about adding another forward. We talked a lot about Marcus Morris, who the Sixers did have interest in, and he did want to come back. We've talked about some other players that fit in that forward spot. But now Yabusele comes in because the Sixers backup forwards, you add Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Jared McCain at guard. That's plenty of guard depth. But at forward, Ricky Council and KJ Martin were your only 2 forwards off the bench. Ricky Council, I'm very high on what Ricky Council can bring, but we have to see it. We saw it in the Summer League, but he hasn't really proven anything at a high level on the NBA floor. Neither is KJ Martin, right, who the Sixers re-signed to a 2-year, $16 million deal, which I think is to be used as more of a trade piece. So now you throw another dart here at Yabusele, who, if he can hit and he can show what he showed in the Olympics at the NBA level, and say he can shoot 37% from 3, be physical, grab some rebounds, play good defense, play hard, he could absolutely be one of the first guys off the bench here for the 76ers. Now, there's no guarantee, obviously, but it's such a low risk for Philly because it's a minimum deal. And when you look at and you canvass the league for the other free agents that were still out there, to me, it was pretty much either sign Marcus Morris or sign Guerschon Yabusele, right? And I think Yabusele, we know what we're getting from Marcus Morris at this point in his career. Getting a little bit older, he can still shoot the 3 a little bit, can score a little bit from the mid-range, but not going to be a great defender. I think that's why the Sixers went with Yabusele here, because he has more upside as a defender, and he has a more versatile skill set than Marcus Morris. Again, Morris was just kind of spot up from 3, play 10 minutes a game. I think Yabusele is more equipped to play larger minutes, have a larger role, and just offer a wider variety of a skill set. And then obviously rounding out the roster, Embiid, Andre Drummond, Adambona. So Yabusele, again, fills a massive, massive need for the Sixers. We talked about the forward spot being a big need, needing more physicality, more toughness on this team, because it's just something that they've really lacked and still kind of lacked on the roster. Of course, there's no guarantee that Yabusele is going to play, even make the team. I do imagine he wouldn't have taken this risk of leaving a $2.5 million contract over in Real Madrid and getting off that deal to come over here if he didn't think he had a realistic shot at making the roster and playing some significant minutes for this team, which I absolutely think he does. So 14 players now on the 76ers roster. They're going to go into the year with these 14. Daryl Morey said we're going to see how this team plays out. If Coach Nurse sees something that they need to address, they will address it at the deadline. Now that they brought in Yabusele, KJ Martin becomes even more expendable, because I think Yabusele is better than KJ Martin, or at least can be better than KJ Martin. Again, if those skills he showed at the Olympics can translate onto the NBA floor. So Sixers fans, it is official. Guerschon Yabusele is a 76er. Great signing for me down in the comments. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think about the signing. Will he get significant minutes for the Sixers? We will see this upcoming season, but I'm so excited for the season. And if you're excited for this season to start and watch the Sixers get together on the floor and play some basketball with this new roster, hit that sub button because we're going to be with you every single step of the way. Hit that thumbs up, like the video, and we'll see you next time here on 76ers Now.